consented to live stream.
Thanks for consenting.
Absolutely. It's important. I think you're live at 5.
What's up, baby? We're live on YouTube. Let's see if I can't get this chat to show up. Holy crap. This is terrible.
While you're trying to figure out the chat, happy DCFL. Just kidding, DGFL. DCFL is another league that I'm not in because it's my only league. Kickoff to everybody except the Pillas. Not that you're going to win any games anyway this season. Big news today. We have a trade between the Turtles and the Bods. Might get into that more later, might not. We'll see what the Maestro Don is feeling today. It's got some wings in the oven. Spicy Boy Thursday. Yeah, we're excited.
What are the odds anybody's actually going to chat?
I think we'll hear it in the group meeting.
You can be the chat minder.
I don't know how to do that, but I got you. I'm minding the chat.
Well, you can just go to YouTube and pull it up and just mute it. Anyways, all right, here we go. Welcome in. It's your host, Diddly Donnie Deucif, the dirty slammer himself. Slamma Jamma, we're back. We're both rocking hats. We're both sitting in similar rooms. But what Ryan doesn't have that I have is a nice, fresh, opened Blistex. We want you to sponsor us, Blistex. We want you. All right? So we're coming in hot. All right. It's dirty slam time of the year. That means there's bets flying around. No money, of course, if UNC football is watching this. We're not betting on NCAA affiliated games. No
Definitely
money
not.
involved. No money
This
involved.
This is all for fun.
Anyways, here we go. We're gonna recap. We're gonna recap what happened. We're gonna recap what happened last year. Mafiosos, my hometown team, champion of the league, 2020 victors. They join the 2019 champion Swines, immortalized forever. But we're the Dirty Slam podcast, so we're looking at bets specifically. The House won it, came in first last year, points victory for them, and Jacob Giller coming in hot in second. Honorable mention for Jacob Giller.
Good for him.
Now I've updated the spreadsheet with with some equations that have messed up the spreads, but I think the Mafiosos, DeVeggie, and the Weenie Wolves are still the top two most covering teams. Everything's messed up. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's still preseason. It's still the preseason for us here at the Dirty Slam.
I apologize to everybody. Anyways, we're gonna get into a little bit of the off season before we get into these spreads and lines and nonsense. And I guess we'll kick things off with the trade that just went through. Do you mind telling me again what it was, my compadre?
Absolutely. I'll pull it up, but I think I kind of have it from memory. So Bods are going to be receiving Zeke, Jack Mitchell's first, which presumably will be a late first in 2023, and Jack Mitchell's 2022 third round. So presumably last 3 pick in the draft, not that important. Jack will receive DeAndre Hopkins, the nuclear bomb himself, and a 2022 second via the Weenie Paninis that Josh had the rights to.
Yeah. So I'll just break this down because obviously two of our guys in our top 5 or so for champion favorites. From my perspective here, I'm looking at the Bods here getting a win now piece and a future asset. I think this is a total win for the Bods organization because what happens if they don't win? You know, like they still got a first. I mean, they're pretty set up for the future. Zeke obviously will have another seat. He's not going to die after the season. I don't know. It's also kind of a win. it's hard for me to look at this trade and think like, wow, it's so radical, because like the Screaming Turtles had that Calvin Ridley deal that was radical, that you're like, what are you doing, Jack? Like, I thought you wanted to win. So you're trading away like your second best receiver. But I guess it was all in the cards because now he's getting a guy back into the organization, you know. So I guess that leads me into my question. You can talk about the trade, you can talk about anything you want, Ryan.
Yeah.
My compatriot. Whose offseason do you think was the most helpful towards their goal? Who do you think blew it up the best if they're rebuilding? Who do you think pushed the hardest for the championship? Obviously, we don't know because the season's starting tonight, but you can make some guesses, you know.
Yeah. I'll answer that question in two different ways. I think in terms of pushing the hardest to kind of make it to the next level, I'm going to have to give it to the Jollers, not because it's myself, but just because given the bag for Ridley, trading up in the draft for Trey Sermon, ETN was unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Trying to get pieces that'll get us out of that mediocre purgatory. But in terms of the best offseason, geez, I might have to go for the Bots. Just if not alone for this trade, I think it really puts him in a position to win now, even if Zeke's not great, which I do think he'll bounce back this year. He's still got that first round pick. I understand the trade in a long term, but for Jack Mitchell, who's a team who's very, very poised for win now, I'm not sure why he gave away running back depth, especially when Gus Edwards might have torn his ACL today. If anything happens to Mike Davis, I mean, I don't even know who he has to put in there. So I like the Bods. I mean, I think they already had a good team. I think there's been positive developments with James Robinson this offseason. So I like what they've done.
Yeah, preseason bettors on the Turtles are sweating for sure. The house is getting their chips, and they're a little worried now that the Turtles, they're kind of thin. You said it best. And especially at the scariness of the depth that there is at the top of the league, of Hunters or the Ramblin' Rubber Duckies and the Rods Bods and the Jollers and the Mafiosos de Veggie and the Peacocks all have solid rotational players that pop off any given week, fill in case of injuries. And then you got, of course, the star-studded Turtles. Obviously, if their starters are out there every single week, they have the best team. But in the case of last year, their guys weren't always out there. And look what happened. He lost. So I like your analysis. I think it could come true. The crystal ball is shining on Jack Mitchell, whether he rubs it the correct way. And that was weird. Anyways, we'll move on. That's kind of all I had planned for that intro segment. You got anything else, bro?
That sounds good to me. I think you kind of hit on everything.
Sweet. Well, we're gonna get into the preview of the seasonal and matchup bets. So the seasonal bet is literally just choose who you think's gonna win the championship, and you could go for a long shot and do somebody like the Weenie Paninis or the Weenie Wolves. I mean, sorry, that's coming back to me on Twitter.
Disrespectful. That's disrespectful.
Weenie Wolves Twitter game is ferocious.
Some all caps coming your way.
Yeah, this is about to be horrible. I need my PR guys, boys in the back. You guys got to get on that, bro. Anyways, Weenie, well, you can go for that at like 100 point. You got the Turtles at 10, anywhere in between. It's pretty straightforward. You bet, and if you get it right, you win those points. Looking at the week 1 spreads and lines, we're upping our game here. We have visuals.
Visuals.
You see it? Do you see it?
It looks great.
All right, week 1 spreads and lines.
Yes, I see it. I see the word table.
Mafiosos da Vinci versus the Ramblin' Rubber Duckies. Mafiosos are 7.5 point favorites on 260. That's pretty hefty. Rods Bods, Primetime Pubes, 20.5 on 220. We're going to get into that matchup. That changes up after this trade. Screaming Turtles versus the Swine. Some could say a rivalry week, but not the Swines. They wouldn't say that.
Not a rival.
23 and a half on 260 again. Fantasy Foot Jawlers, worst branded team versus Caterpillar Gillas, 19 and a half.
The worst team.
This is just a terrible matchup. 230 is the over under the line. The Cox versus the Cheesers, 22 and a half on 230, and then the Frogs over the Wolves on 21 and a half, 210. Okay, well, now that you see that, I guess I'm kind of rusty. Why don't we just go straight to the slam of the week?
I think give the people your slam. I'll give them my slam. If there's any matchups in particular you want to get into,
I'm just getting straight slam of the week. I'm getting into this first matchup I want to talk about. The Rods Bods versus the Primetime Pubes, all right? We have the matchup screen here. It's still up on my visual that I prepared for today. I just would like to thank nobody but myself that I prepared this. This is my slam of the week. Sleeper has this projected at 126 to 98. All right. The house, the lines makers, they're looking at a 120 to 100 based on the spread we saw earlier. I'll scroll back up because it's a 220 and a 20 and a half. We're looking at about 120 to 100 is what they're predicting. There's 0% chance that the Bods score below 120 points this week. In my honest slamming opinion, the Dirty Donner himself, I think there's a massive discrepancy in the projections that the lines makers have put out and the projections that our Overlord Sleeper has put out. And I just think the Bods win every single matchup. I think they win every single matchup by like 5 points. I think this is going to be an absolute slaughterhouse, especially with the new trade that's coming in. I project this at about 135 to 95. I think this is going to crush the over. I think it'll crush the spread. I think the Bods come out with a huge first week, and I think they take the season by storm. What say you, my Commodore?
Yeah, I like that analysis. I'm looking at my table here. My slam of the week still is, will always be the Screaming Turtles. I mean, say what you want about the long-term implications of the trade. We don't know. I'm not going to say it's a bad trade. Could work out very well. But Zeke against a very good Buccaneers defense without the Cowboys starting right guard, and again, they're probably going to be playing from behind.
He doesn't have Zeke anymore.
I know.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying, I don't think Zeke would have performed that. Come on,
Commodore. I'm thinking about my wings, bro. I was just stressing.
You check on those wings.
I was stressing for a second. If I didn't set my time, I'm good.
Don't stress. I don't think Zeke is going to have a huge week this week. Obviously, D-Hop playing in the Dome with Kyler is going to go off at any time. So I don't think it really changes the odds that much for me for the Screaming Turtles. I think the Swines have been hurt a lot this offseason. Although Michael Thomas news, they're starting Marquez Callaway, which, it could be good, but I don't think it's going to be great. They're definitely my slam of the week. I'd say my tip for all you faithful listeners out there who want to kind of get the inside information and you listen to this show to be educated, be looking to maybe take the under in a lot of matchups. I have the under in 4 out of our 6 games this week. A lot of bad weather moving in. Across the country, you got hurricanes, things like that. A lot of people playing in rain and wind. Keep that in mind, especially if you're banking on a quarterback or a wide receiver to have a big game to hit it over. Yeah. Just be mindful.
Boys in the Back did the statistics on it too. They could be wrong. They're frequently wrong, but they did the stats on it. And on every single game that a line was set at 260, the over in the regular season was only hit twice over. We did about 8 or 9 weeks. So those odds are terrible. 260 is it's a tough one to hit. But the math, I was trying to do the math on what the house is thinking with this one. It's like 145 to 1, like 120 142 or something. 145. So this is really tight for the Turtles. They have to hit exactly their sleeper projection, and the Swines need to go under basically what they there's a narrow margin where the Swines can hit theirs and the Turtles hit theirs, and the Turtles can still cover. But it's narrow.
Narrow.
Anyways, moving on to the sneak of the week. I think this one is just fitting for how the season ended last year. This is fitting for the organization as a whole and how they pride themselves on winning, even if there's nothing to win anymore. Just going out on a high note. I'm choosing my second matchup here is the last matchup. The Frogs versus the Weenie Wolves. I'm sneaking the Weenies in there. 21 and a half.
Sneak the Weenies right in there, Matt.
I'm sneaking the Weenies, bro. They're 21 and a half underdogs on 210. This is just like my mouth is watering. Look at this matchup. This is horrible matchup. This is an absolute train wreck. Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Melvin Gordon as your RB2. Is that Chris Conley? Who is that?
It is Chris Conley. Starting next week,
I don't even think I've ever even heard of that guy. But
that's bad.
But Sleeper has it as like 112 to 97, basically. The house, so you look at this, the house has it at 120 to 91, basically. They're discounting, they're going strong into discounting the Weenie Wolves. And every time the Weenie Wolves have been discounted, they come out on top. So
discount I just see this.
Yeah, the house favors the Frogs in this, but the projections and the statistics come back and play a huge part for the Weenies. Weenie Wolves to just sneak their way in there. Myles Gaskin could have a huge game. Amari Cooper could have a huge game.
Yeah.
I mean, is that at this point? I'm not even looking at the over under. I'm just looking at the Weenie Wolves coming in 21 points or less. So that's what I'm going. This is purely a gut check for me. Am I good of a house better as I was last year? And we'll see here with a gut check on week 1. Who are you sneaking, bro?
I'll get to my sneak, but before I get there, and this is embarrassing. We're a little rusty, we got good wing smells in the house right now. I'm a little distracted.
Can you smell
the frogs? I can. They smell delicious.
Do they smell like buffalo-y or still garlicky?
A little garlicky, but I think once you put the sauce on, you'll be straight. That's all right. We'll
I'm boned, bro. I'm boned.
Did Reed draft Devontae Smith, or did he get him from Chris? Am I smoking crack? I thought the Pubes drafted Devontae Smith.
All
right. Well, I feel better if it's up for debate. Anyway, on to my sneak. You at home know the truth. That was just something I didn't notice at the end.
Or boys in the back are looking. Certainly not me.
Let me know what the boys in the back say. My sneaky sneak for the week. Chester's Cheese Boards covering against the Peacocks. Peacocks have a good team on paper. Don't get me wrong. I would say the X factor for me are the RBs for the Cheese Boards. Najee Harris and DeAndre Swift, both guys who could go off. Quote came out a couple days ago about DeAndre Swift that will count his touches on Monday, meaning that they're not afraid to just give the man the rock and do what they need to do. I think he scores early, even though the team's probably going to be behind and they're not going to run a ton. I think it'll be enough on a pretty big spread for the Cheese Boards to cover.
I just got news in from boys in the back that Eckler was again off to the side in practice.
Oh, no.
So my sneak's looking a little better.
It's looking good.
Eckler's not playing, so Weenie Wolves on top.
I think Reed's backup running back is like, I don't know. I think it's one of the boys in the back, actually, is on his roster.
Yeah, one of the boys in the back. I think his name is – we don't care. Nobody cares about the boys in the back's name. But we care about the work they put in. That's all we care about. Anyways, Those are spreads and lines. Everybody's got them in except for Griffin and Peyton, which is very just not surprising. This happens every
I think
time.
Griffin will put him in. Peyton.
Yeah. I've debated actually just taking off of his column because it's more work for me to have to like balance out the anyways, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we're here to have fun and beat the pillows.
Beat the pillows. It's hate pillows week.
It's not hate pillows week. It's hate Jollers week.
I just want everybody to know that if you hate the Jollers brand so much, then root for Giller, because if he takes the season serious, I'll change my name.
This is exactly what we need as a league. We need to rally around the Pillows and their god-awful team.
For all of you go out there and you bully Giller and you tell him how much his team sucks and you send pictures of him sticking his tongue out at his old girlfriends, maybe support him. Send him an encouraging text. Give him some wisdom as he sets his lineup. Help a guy out.
I refuse. Anyways, it's been about 20 or so minutes. This is first week, kind of introductory week, I'd say. Pretty relaxed, pretty chill. People are getting into the swing of things at school. We're looking forward to having guests back on. I'd say next week or so, after a full week goes by and we can kind of get our chops about, and these lines makers aren't so crazy high with their spreads. We're kind of all over the place here. This could be a big money week for the league. We'll see, though. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. You got anything else?
Wrap it up.
I'm wrapping this sucker up, baby. I appreciate my amigo here, Ryan Chafin, leader of the Joller Clan, always coming in clutch with the wisdom, with the expertise. Dirty Donnie Doolittle, leader of the Dirty Slam gang. I'm peacing you guys out. Let me know. Hashtag those visuals were sick on Twitter if you liked them.
Like the visuals. Tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. As always.
Tell a friend.
As always, if you like the podcast, be a friend. Tell a friend. If you didn't like the podcast, just turn it off. Run away. Act like it never happened. You don't got to tell anybody. Just forget it. Act like it never happened. All right? As always, we're wrapping up Spicy Boar Thursday. Wings are nearly out of the oven. I'm going to coat those suckers down with some sauce, even for dinner. Get ready for this game. Appreciate y'all for stopping in, letting us grace those ear holes. I'm really dragging this thing on.